Come on, baby. Yep, you feel it. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Back. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. It's like not catching enough. So I bought it, had some engine work done, got it running, and then stored it for a year because I didn't have any ability to work on it. When I moved into the house that I'm at now, I had a little bit of driveway space, and so the last 4 months I've been restoring it. It used to be all original. Back when it was built in 1985 from Falcon, the whole thing was original old 80s style, and there was some mold, so I decided just to tear all of it apart and start from scratch. So I literally took everything out, all of the seats, all of the carpet, wood, down to the metal frame, and the last 4 months I've been rebuilding it how I want to. All right. I need you. 4 or 5 years ago, I had gotten a divorce. I had been very focused on traveling. That's what I'd always wanted to do. And through our circumstance, we ended up splitting up. And ever since then, I've been kind of using my 20s as a bouncing around from different things and just trying to figure out what I like most. Travel for me has been a huge way for me to keep figuring out what I like to do and meeting people and experiencing just different stuff that interests me and diving into that. And so that's led me on a lot of different adventures. It's been interesting because my community has shrunk a lot. You know, I used to have a ton of people around me because I stayed in the same place for about the first 24 years of my life. And so I had this huge community. I knew tons of people were in my life, some really close friends, some just people I saw all the time. And since I've started like traveling and stuff, the community has shrunk down tremendously to the point where it's like my parents and a couple close friends. And so that's lonely in a lot of ways, but it's also very supportive in many ways as well, because you really only listen to the people that are really close to you, and they're very supportive, either because they've been with you for so long, or you have confided in them, or they live a similar lifestyle. The people that shouldn't have been around, I think, were there for a reason. I learned a lot about what kind of people I wanted in my life and what kind of people I didn't. There is an element to I still don't quite know who I am. And I think that's a lifelong thing, but I think that's one of the reasons I'm actually doing this and traveling in a van by myself. I think that I need to start building much stronger habits so that I can be the type of person that I want other people to be for me. It's the first time I've done something like this on my own. And so there's a lot of self-discovery that I still want to do to figure out what kind of person I want to be. I'm going to buy a sailboat and live in a sailboat and then do solo transoceanic crossings. I think that's how you say it. I had never been on a sailboat, and my friend, who's like 75, he had a sailboat and he had been sailing for 60 years. And so he took my dad, me, and like 2 other guys, all like in their 60s. I was the only guy, and I was like 22 or 21. And we went out on Lake Michigan, and he had a pacemaker. It was like choppy. He was a little bit stressed out, and he was at like the front of the boat, and the pacemaker went off. and it like, I think it feels like you just got defibrillated. And so he like got shocked by it, almost fell off the boat, and then it happened again. So he finally like made his way back to the boat, and he was like, Nathan, you're gonna have to go out and do all this stuff. And I'd never been on a sailboat before, and I was like, okay. And he like was like just sitting in the back like telling me what to do, and I was at the front like going up 7 feet and then down, you know, 7 feet, and like just at the front of the boat going up and down. And it was I don't know, it was like weird that was the experience that made me love sailing, but something about the excitement of it was just like, I have to do this. I really want an adventurous life. And so the things that like challenge me or bring me adventure or fear, I don't know. I was raised in a pretty conservative church, though it was very good for me. I like gained so much like moral fiber, I guess, from it. I feel like I played life to other people's opinions and beliefs and didn't really go off of my own intuition or my own desires. And so I think since leaving that, I've been like, I want to follow my own intuition. I want to go after the things that I want. But yeah, I think I just played it safe for a lot of my life, and I guess I want to not do that as much anymore. I feel like I have it all figured out, and none of it's necessarily going to happen. Come on, baby. Yep, you feel it. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Bed. Oh my god. This is actually van life. So basically I ran out of gas, and the front tank ran out of gas, and so I can rely on the full rear tank, but the switch is broken and it will not transfer the gas.
There you go. No.
Not enough.
Oh.
It's awful.
I have a smaller tank that has some in it. I don't know if it'd be enough.
I'm nervous about the battery because I've been cranking it a lot. Get my shore power battery charger plugged into my AC inverter, and then just flip the switch, and then this should start charging the battery. People ask me all the time, like, should I get an older van? You know, people say they break down. I'm like, yeah, they break down, but like, that's the fun of it, kind of. The only reason I feel bad is like the responsibility to like film the episode, and like I want to make that as good as possible, but at the same time I'm like, being stuck out here, like not a big issue for me. It's part of the fun and free-flowing lifestyle of it, so I don't mind. My best friend told me, he dropped me off once in California, and he dropped me off and his girlfriend was like, should we give him directions? Should we figure out where he needs to go and stuff? He was like, Huff's resourceful, he'll figure it out. And they just dropped me off, and I kind of got going and just explored the city by myself. Traveling alone and doing van life alone in the past has given me, and what I hope it keeps giving me is resourcefulness and the ability to be on my own and figure things out and think inwardly and go a little deeper with myself and figure out a little bit more about my intuition and the things that I care about and the person I want to be. And I think that's different than being a loner or avoiding social contact with people. Being resourceful is also the ability to rely on other people and ask other people for help and figure out what you need and use other people to get you where you need to go, and so that you can help other people in the same way. I think van life and travel helps you do that a lot, because you do have to figure out a lot of things on your own, but you also need to rely on help from other people to get you where you need to go. 7 years ago, maybe, I took a flight to California. Me and my best friend were going to California. He wanted to visit the area. I went along with him. We went on a Virgin America flight, and they have complimentary TVs for everybody. And so you get a screen and they give you free channels, and GoPro was relatively new to me. I just thought it was like some action camera, and they had a GoPro channel. And so for the entire 4-hour Chicago flight to LA and the entire LA flight to Chicago, I just immersed myself in this GoPro channel. I watched 8 hours of it. I was hooked. First of all, everyone was super passionate about what they were doing, and that was really cool to see. There were so many world experiences that people were doing, and it kind of opened my eyes to like, there is so much in this world outside of what I've been doing. I watched it and I was like, I want the end of my life to look like a GoPro highlight reel. I want to live a ton of experiences and go for it. And maybe I'm not an elite athlete, maybe I'm not the best dirt biker or snowboarder or whatever it is, but I can taste it, I can see what it feels like, and maybe find something that I can be really good at and then dive into that. And that could be anything. That doesn't even have to be a like traditional GoPro thing. That can be pottery or woodworking or whatever it is. I think for me, especially being 28 and earlier on in my 20s, it's the perfect time to explore that. And maybe, just maybe, I can find something that I'm really good at and I really could enjoy doing for the rest of my life. And maybe I just keep wandering. I was listening to an interesting psychologist, and he was talking about how one of the things that separates humans from animals is the concept of perceiving our future life. Animals typically run off of instinct and habit. They're not concerned about how they're gonna look and feel in 2 to 3 years, and as humans we do that, you know. I think about what my life's going to be like when I'm 40, and the big thing is we can make decisions now that will affect how we live 10, 20, 30 years from now. And so I had this conversation with my parents, and I asked them, at 60, do you worry or think about your life at 70, 80? And they're like, of course we do, you know. They're still human. What I realized was, for a long time I'd been saving my money or planning things for my future, and I do think that's important, but I was stressing so much about it to the point where I was like, when I finally get enough money, then I can start doing my traveling and living my life out. And once I get to that set point where I'm like, cool, my 401k is set, my life is good, when I'm older it's gonna be taken care of. And I realized that feeling never goes away. Even when you're 65, you still have the feeling of, I still need to prepare for my 75 and my 85. It's a balance. I think I have to remind myself that it's okay to live life right now, in the moment, and experience things while still thinking about my future and the decisions that I make now and how that will affect it, but not sacrificing my life in the moment for the future. Because if you do that, you'll hit 65 and realize you've been doing it for your whole life and you're gonna still do it. You know, I'm 28 going on 30. 30 scares a lot of people in their 20s. It scared me for a long time. 22 scared me when I was 19. You know, 30 scared me when I was younger. And I think society makes it that 30 is a scary number. There's an infinite amount of things that society will make you think, and you know, we have to work within society, but I think you also have to acknowledge that you are an individual and that you have individual choices that may not go along with a societal norm, and that's okay to break out of. I think at the end of the day, I just want to be proud of myself and know that I went after it. I just want to grow as a person. I want to learn new things. I want to trust my intuition. I think that's the biggest thing. In 5, 10, 15, 20, any amount of years, I want to be extremely proud of myself because I kept following my intuition and following my gut and growing that stronger and stronger. Yeah, and have a hell of adventure on the way.
I want you to stay. Yo, Nathan, do you want to explain why you're yawning midway through what people who want to see this episode? We're midway.
I got my pretzels, so I'm not yawning anymore.
He rushed to get snacks. It's a very laborsome process to be filming these interviews, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's good.